Mic's not even on. It's not even on. You couldn't even hear me. Couldn't see me. Couldn't do anything. There's nothing happening over here. Hello? Let's try that again. All right, cool. Welcome to OkayishAF Does Whatever She Wants. I'm OkayishAF, and I'm going to do whatever I want. And today, I come to you with sleep in my eyes, coffee barely metabolized in my body to talk about trans rights. It's been a little bit since I posted anything, and that's because depression is a thing, and I'm trying to get properly medicated, and that is expensive and hard, especially when you don't have solid, dependable income, which I'm currently trying to build. It's very hard out here for creators, and my mental health is such that corporate life is just, I can't do it. I did it for 20 years. And I didn't realize until when I got laid off that it was killing me. And while my financial stress is awful, it's awful and terrible and horrible, and I hate it very, 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 very much. The freedom to be able to go pick up my daughter or have her and not have to be like focused on work or stuck in meetings or work with people who are MAGA, racist, awful fucking pieces of shit, is lovely. It really is. But the trade-off to that is that you work your ass off constantly all the time. Bus, tour, another bus, another club. It just never ends. And between streaming, my client work, those things have had to come first because those things are the things that make me money. Currently, I'm not making anything off YouTube. And I do make a small amount on Patreon. So I've really had to put my energy when I have it towards the things that are and people who are paying me. So that's that. I have a friend named Ashley. She has a GoFundMe that is currently up. They're almost at their goal. They are trying to move her partner, and their 5 dogs. They're trying to move from Mississippi, which passed some really awful anti-trans legislation that's going to go into effect on July 1st. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They're trying to escape and move to a place that's safer for them. And I'm so happy that they're going to be able to. I hope the GoFundMe keeps raising in numbers because the job market is crap, and I'm really hoping that they find jobs when they move. I hope they find jobs quickly. But I'm going to link the GoFundMe below. I'm going to put it on screen here. They deserve all of the help that they can get. So if you can share, donate if you can, even if it's $5. As mentioned before, the financial struggles for me are real. So I'm not able to financially contribute. However, I have been helping them organize things. So organizing what it's going to cost for them, sending them links for different moving companies, getting quotes for them, whatever they need that's admin based, like I will help them with. That way they don't have to stress out so much. They can focus on each other. They can focus on staying safe. I can't imagine being forced to flee your home in that way. And it's awful. We're going to talk about it. For those of you who don't know, or have been living under a rock, or maybe don't live in America and don't really pay attention to what's going on in America, fair enough. It's a shit show over here. The anti-trans legislation has been in full force, especially in states in the Deep South, where the Bible thumpers just fucking run the show. The Christian nationalists, I should say, run the show. And we all know they hate everybody but themselves. So sometimes they do hate themselves, because sometimes if they would just like step a little bit out of the closet, they would live such a happier life and like stop living in denial, and everything would be better for them and people around them, and they could like be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. But like they're never gonna do that, and they're gonna die miserable, and it's, so be it. If you were curious and you wanted to keep up with the trans legislation in the United States, there is a tracker for that, the trans legislation tracker, and it tracks the past legislation, active and failed legislation. And I think it's important that we pay attention to all of those things, right? We have to watch where this legislation is failing as well. It's stupid that we even have to do this. It is monumentally fucking dumb that we are worried about what trans people are doing when white male Christian pastors, some of them, are the ones being arrested for CSAM and etc. of young people. It is outrageous that anybody would believe still that trans people or drag queens or gay people are the problem when it is almost always a cis man doing this shit that they're accusing trans people of. So anyway, I'm getting so mad. I'm so mad. Let's take a look at the 2026 anti-trans bill tracker. You can see by the map, there's 30, as of today, we're filming on 4/20, I guess. We have 30 that are passed for this year, 669 that are active, and 63 have failed. So my friend is in Mississippi. There are 16 anti-trans bills in Mississippi in 2026. The legislation impacts 7 categories: birth certificates, education, bathroom, performance, healthcare, and marriage. So like, we're gonna scroll through these and put them on screen, and as you can see, a lot of them have failed, and good. However, you can go in and see like what the bills that are passed, you can go in and see exactly what they say, and they have an embedded link to the actual bill as well, so you can read it word for word. We're not gonna do that here. I'm just like not gonna do that because I can feel my blood pressure. I can feel my blood pressure like boiling, actually. The one that we are gonna focus on is Mississippi SB2322, driver's license amend provisions related to. So it's important to keep in mind that there are a lot of trans people, my friend included, who are gig workers. They need their vehicle in order to drive, and their driver's license should match who they are. So it should match the gender that they identify with. That just seems like an easy fucking thing. That it's just so silly that we have to fight about this. So she's a woman. She's a trans woman. Her driver's license should say her actual name that she has chosen for herself and female. It should just do that. That's not hard. However, because this bill is passed and it's going to be enforced starting on July 1st, her driver's license is invalid, and she would have to get a driver's license as her dead name assigned male, which is fucking stupid. So this bill was sponsored by Angela Burks Hill, a Republican, and Chad McMahon, also a Republican. Fuck both of them, and signed into law by the governor on the 8th of April. We're gonna play a video from my friend Digital Love. Her name is Ashley, kind of explaining why this is a red line for her.
Hi, if you support trans people and you think that we all deserve to live in safety, please give me a minute of your time and please hit all of the buttons. Unfortunately, it has happened here in the state that I live in. Mississippi has passed a law similar to the law in Kansas that is going to start invalidating trans people's driver's licenses, except here, the law specifically states that any officer who pulls someone over using one of these invalidated licenses is required to report that person to ICE. That is right, ICE. This law goes into effect on July 1st, and therefore, I'm leaving, and I really need your help. I am trying to raise enough money to get me and my family across the country. I do have somewhere to go in a blue state with protections, but I need help getting there. I need help getting my family there. That is my partner, who I've been with for over 10 years now, and our 5 dogs, to move 1,500 miles across the country. I will be cross-posting this, so wherever you see this, there will be a link in my bio to my GoFundMe, and if you are seeing this on TikTok, or if you follow me on TikTok, I'm going to be posting more TikTok shop videos because I have to raise money, and I feel like a little bit of a shill doing it, but I have to raise money. Like I said, there is no doubt that this law will go into effect. It goes into effect on July 1st. The governor here has not hesitated to sign off on all kinds of anti-trans legislation, including multiple bills attacking trans youth, a ban on trans women participating in sports, ban on trans people in bathrooms in public education buildings, etc. And even if he does not sign it, as long as he does not veto it, it automatically becomes law after like 5 days. So this will be the law. It goes into effect on July 1st as stated in the legislation. So I need to be gone by mid to late June because I need to be able to get across the country before they invalidate my license so that I'm not driving across the country on an invalidated license. If I can't raise enough money for all of us, then I will have to go by myself, and I do not know how long it will take for me to get the money to bring them with me, so we could be separated for quite a long time. So please, if you have anything to spare, I would be so grateful. And if you want something in return, you can buy my music or you can buy a t-shirt. But obviously there are, cuts that come from the services that distribute those things. So I will get the most impact if you just put it into my GoFundMe. And if you can't do any of that, I totally understand. We are living in the worst times to need money, and we all need money. So please just hit the buttons. Please share it. Please anything. Please help us. And just finishing up, I love y'all. Thank you, everyone who has ever been there for me, whether that is supporting me directly financially or just listening to my music or just giving me a follow or the occasional like on social media, whatever the case may be. It has never gone unappreciated. Thank you so much. I hope to make it through this period of my life and get back to normal very soon. And with your help, that will be a lot easier. So thank you.
An act to amend Section 63-1-35 Mississippi Code of 1972 to provide that the commissioner may only prescribe the form of license issued under this article to licensees who are not United States citizens or who do not possess a social security number if the licensee is lawfully present in the United States, to provide that such a license shall include a designation that the person is not a United States citizen, and that the license shall expire on the date that the person is no longer lawfully present to the United States. That's just the bill they're amending this to. To require any new renewal or duplicate driver's license, temporary driving permit, or commercial driver's license issued to a person under this chapter to bear a designation of the sex of the individual, which shall be consistent with the sex of the individual determined at birth. To provide that a driver's license or other permit purporting to authorize the holder to operate a motor vehicle on public roadways issued by another state or jurisdiction to a person unable to prove lawful presence in the United States when the license or permit is issued shall be invalid in this state and does not authorize the holder to operate a motor vehicle in this state. To require a peace officer who stops a person driving or using such an invalid license to issue a citation to the driver and refer the person to the United States of Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. For those of you who are not familiar with what that means, what's going to happen is if you're a trans person in Mississippi and your license has been revoked basically by this law starting on July 1st because you've had it changed, legally had it changed to your gender and your name, not your dead name, your driver's license is now no longer valid. And if you get pulled over with an invalid license, the police officer is going to hand you over to ICE, which is fucking insane. But it's happening. This is happening, and it's made our trans friends unsafe, more unsafe than they already were just dealing with the public in general. Now, lots of people are turning to gig work, whether it's Instacart, Shipt, like Amazon delivery, DoorDash, whatever it might be, because that work is more flexible. You can pick up hours or drop hours. It pays relatively well, aside from, gas and wear and tear on your car. But because the job market is so shit, I've done it. I'm doing it. Gig work can help fill in those gaps a lot of the times. And you need a car to do that in the United States. There's not a lot of places where you can do gig work on a bike or walking. that like we don't have the infrastructure in a lot of places for that outside of major cities. So I can't imagine how many people this is going to disenfranchise, not only from being able to work, but from being able to vote, because they are trying to pass laws that say you need a valid driver's license in order to vote. And this invalidates their driver's license. All of this is absolutely insane. And to kind of explain why ICE, because a lot of people have that question, why ICE, I'm going to show another video from Digital Love kind of explaining that here.
I keep having people ask me in regards to my need to flee Mississippi over SB 2322, why ICE? Why does the bill say to refer people to ICE if this is an issue with gender markers on driver's licenses and not an immigration thing? So what is happening is they have lumped gender marker in with immigration policy all in the same bill. So the natural reaction to that is to say, okay, but you are a citizen, so what's there to worry about? And to that I would say, first of all, anyone who has ever interacted with a cop knows that they are going to enforce first and let the courts solve it later. So anybody who is walking around who has had a license invalidated, who is not carrying a passport, they're going to claim cannot prove citizenship. So this is going to end up with trans people like myself who, for whatever reason, are told to present an ID to an officer, and they're either going to present an invalidated ID or they're not going to present anything at all. And the officer, because of the legalese of the bill, is probably also not going to know exactly how the bill works. But it does literally say in bold to refer people to ICE. So that officer is going to kick that up the chain. Not their problem. And then, as we have all watched, the moment that you end up in ICE custody, there is no knowing when, if ever, you will get out of ICE custody. People have been disappeared for a year before they got out, and the government is fighting tooth and nail to keep them in custody, literally defying court orders to keep people in custody. That is why I cannot stay. It is currently federal policy to keep trans people in the wrong prisons, first of all. It is standard policy right now to do conversion therapy in prison. And also, V-coding is a thing. You should search that yourself, because I don't really have the mental and emotional capacity to talk about it. So that is why I have to go, because I cannot trust that my citizenship alone is enough to keep me out of ICE custody. And on top of that, I drive for a living. Like, my income is from driving. If I don't have a driver's license, I don't have an income. Fuck ICE and fuck the government.
All of this, I hate all of this. I hate all of this. So I know that this episode is a little bit shorter. And just because I'm curious, let's check Florida. Let's see what goes on in Florida. 14 anti-trans bills in Florida in 2026. The legislation impacts 4 categories: employment, healthcare, and education. Lots have failed. There's some introduced. Gender identity employment practices. Specifies employment policy in the state relating to a person's sex, prohibits employees and contractors of certain employers from being required to use certain pronouns, requiring such employers to use a pronoun that does not correspond to the employee's or contractor's sex, prohibits certain forms from offering specified options relating to applicant sex, prohibits adverse personnel action on the basis of gender ideology. It is a policy of this state that a person's sex is an immutable biological trait and that it can be false to ascribe a person a pronoun that does not correspond with a person's sex. It's like these people have never picked up like a science book. Like they just have never in their life. They didn't pay attention in like 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. According to the Yale School of Medicine, you know Yale, that school that lots of presidents have gone to, the one that's like super like expensive and important or something like that. Yale. At women's health research at Yale, we are committed to advancing the health of a diverse society. We do this in large measure by studying the health of women and the similarities and differences in health outcomes between and among women and men. As we pursue our work, it is particularly important to use language that captures the different concepts of sex and gender so that our science and our findings can be more precise and better serve everyone. What do we mean by sex and gender? Aren't those terms interchangeable? They are not, and this is why. In 2001, a committee convened by the Institute of Medicine, a nonprofit think tank that took on issues of importance to national health, addressed the question of whether it mattered to study the biology of women as well as men. The IOM, now embedded within the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, concluded that there was more than sufficient evidence that beyond reproductive biology, there are major differences in the biology of women and men that greatly affected their health and influenced treatment and prevention strategies. Importantly, the committee emphasized that neither of the health of women nor men is simply a product of biology, but is also influenced by sociocultural and psychological experience. To differentiate between these broad areas of investigation, the members created working definitions of sex when referring to biology and gender when referring to self-representation influenced by social and cultural personal experience. Self-representation. The committee advises that scientists use these definitions in the following ways. In the study of human subjects, the term sex should be used as a classification, generally as male or female, according to the reproductive organs and functions that derive from the chromosomal complement, generally XX for female and XY for male. In the study of human subjects, the term gender should be used to refer to a person's self-representation as male or female, or how that person is responded to by social institutions on the basis of the individual's gender presentation. In most studies of non-human animals, the term sex should be used. These working definitions were a good start in recognizing the value of studying sex and gender and their interactions, yet they were always meant to evolve. Now we are learning more about ourselves and so must adapt our terminology to be inclusive, respectful, and more accurate. For example, while most people are born biologically female or male, rare biological syndromes can result in genital ambiguity, or a resistance to sex hormone can result in traits typical of the opposite biological sex. Moreover, while an individual's internal sense of gender can be male or female, some people identify as non-binary, neither female nor male. Other individuals can identify as a gender that is the same as cisgender, which is not a slur, you fucking weirdos, or different from transgender, who deserve all the rights and happiness in the whole entire world, just like everyone else. The one assigned at birth. These terms are separate from an individual's sexual orientation, which describes a person's emotional, romantic, and/or physical attachment, such as straight, lesbian, gay, asexual, bisexual, and more. In science, as our understanding grows, so must the precision of our language in communicating what we know. And this website, I'm going to have it linked down below. It goes on to list some terminology. It is great for understanding the difference between sex and gender and the evolution of such in a scientific way. Now, white Christian nationalists don't give a fuck about science. They literally don't care. They literally don't care. It is within their scope of their goals to eradicate anyone who does not assimilate to them and to their beliefs. That's it. That's it. And you can argue with your mom about it. Actually, you can argue with me in the comments about it. I could use the engagement. Thanks. My goal as a cis woman is to try and just be as loud as fucking possible in cis spaces about trans rights. I don't want anyone who thinks that those laws are appropriate and necessary to feel safe in my spaces. And I am open to having conversations with people, good faith conversations with people about those things, but I don't think that anybody who believes in these bills is having good faith conversations about anything. I think they're too far gone, and I just want to be louder than them. I want to be louder than them. Trans rights forever, my friends. If you aren't familiar with Ashley and Ashley's story, I'm going to share her GoFundMe below. Please donate if you can. If you can't, please share it. If you see a trans person who is trying to get out of Mississippi or some of these other states that are making it damn near impossible for trans folks to live just a normal fucking life, please help them if you can. Please share. Please hold your friends and family accountable for their anti-trans and bigoted beliefs. Don't let that shit slide. Let them know that they're being transphobic, please, for the love of God. And also make sure you're registered to vote. Get out and vote. Vote for the most progressive candidate on the ballot, whoever that might be, because we're not going to get out of this if we keep Republicans in office. It's just not going to happen. But also, if voting isn't the only thing you should be doing, help sharing mutual aid and sharing podcasts like this that get word out about what's happening in some of these states and what trans people are going through matters. It matters. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for donating. I'm also going to link some trans supporting charities down below. Trans Lifeline is one of my favorite ones to donate to. Please support our trans brothers and sisters. They need it so much right now. I'm going to go do some push-ups. Okay, bye.